Okay, so I've been having some fun experiences lately. A lucid dream that I had yesterday morning. No, this wasn't by Joel. This was different reptilians that like to give me these lucid dreams that are totally awesome and long. And a lot of times, there's not any sexual stuff in them. Not all of them are perverts like Joel is. But yeah, so like, I just had this funny lucid dream like yesterday morning that I was walking around a college campus, and we went to the cafeteria. It was like me and then two people that work in the cafe at the bookstore, like the alien place, those two people in my scenario, and it was like we were like friends or something, and we were walking around college campus, and I don't know what town we were in. It just felt like a different reality, a different dimension or whatever. And then we went to the cafeteria, and I kept debating on like what I was gonna eat, and I looked down at the pizza, and I didn't know if I wanted the pizza, and I walked back around, and then I noticed there was only like one piece of pizza left, and eventually I did take a bite and everything of the pizza, and I did finally get pizza or whatever, but it was so, it's virtual reality. Like my lucid dreams are virtual reality. It's just the feeling feels different than like the normal 3D feeling virtual reality experiences. But this is the funny thing. Okay, so, and by the way, this cafeteria was like luxury looking. It was real fancy looking and luxury looking. Like the tables were fancy, the walls were fancy, and it was like I had already been to college and stuff, but apparently I was just visiting because I was thinking, as I was walking around, like I was thinking how, like, wow, the college cafeteria wasn't like that when I went to college. I was thinking that when I was walking around, in the cafeteria. But it was like I was just friends with that cafe worker in real life, friends with that cafe worker or something. That's what the alien made it seem like in this experience. But in real life, I'm really not friends with her, or with those two people that work in the cafe or whatever. But anyway, here is the funny thing, and I'm not going to try to remember every single detail, but it was long. It was a long experience, walking around a college campus forever and ever, and observing the cafeteria and stuff, and actually eating like pizza and stuff. And it looked really good. I mean, it looked gourmet and everything. But and oh yeah, and there was I forgot, there was a salad bar and shit like that. And but anyway, so but here's the funny part. Okay, this was the funny part. There was olive oil. Okay, the aliens probably put olive oil in that experience because they know I hate olive oil. That's probably why they did it, because they like to mock. But there was olive oil like all over the floor. I mean, just like, not like like an inch thick all over the floor. It was like little puddles, little thick puddles here, thick puddles there, thick puddles here. I mean, it was all over the floor, but it didn't like cover every single square inch. It was just like, smeared all over the floor, but it didn't like cover every square inch or anything. So as I was walking along the floor, I was just like, gross. And anyway, that was just a stylish thing to do. That was a stylish thing that they did, was put olive oil all over the floor. But like I say, there was like thick little puddles here and there, like millimeters thick. Here, there, but it was all over the floor, but it didn't cover like every single square inch of the floor. And I know where the aliens got that idea from. They got it from, but like I said, that was a stylish, classy thing to do in the scenario, and that's what the college did. But I thought it was totally gross. As I was walking around, I was trying to like, ugh, like trying to not walk in it and shit. But I hate olive oil. It's so freaking gross. Okay, so anyway, the reason why the aliens copied that was because, you know, like when you go to Longhorn Steakhouse or whatever it's called, Texas Steakhouse or something like that, or Colton's or whatever. I don't really eat out anymore. It's all gross. But you know how people spit peanuts everywhere, or they throw peanuts on the ground everywhere, and they think that's stylish or classy or whatever? That's where the aliens got that idea. But they just happen to use olive oil instead of peanuts. That's the only reason why I talked about that experience, was only because of that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have talked about it. But it was just interesting, the olive oil. But anyway, okay, so there's another experience. Now, I don't know what Reptilian gave me that experience. Probably Flat-Faced Being, because they're the ones that like to give me these long, drawn-out, lucid dreams. But this other experience Joel gave me about a month ago, it's like he abducted me, so to speak, or, you know, took me out of body, except I didn't, like, fall, or I didn't drop several miles an hour down, or I wasn't astral traveling or anything. He just abducted me and then stuck me in a virtual reality setting, like as if I was at my old house that I grew up in, standing in front of the closet. And it was like kind of dark in my room. It was dark in the closet, but yet I could still see all the images and visions just fine. And anyway, this is kind of a different experience. And I know it was Joel that gave me that experience, because I was, you know, I knew, because he was communicating to me, basically telling me he was giving me the experience. And so, and he wanted me to just blurt out whatever I wanted him to show me. So I'd blurt out, like, show me a house, show me a car. And what else was there? I think there was a cat, like, show me a cat. And so I was just like standing there, you know, staring into the closet. And he would show me a vision of a cat, or a vision of a house or a car. And he told me, what I mean is, I also said some perverted things that he, you know, made me say, most likely. I said some perverted things too, and he would show me some perverted things, because he's always doing perverted things. And so that was a weird experience that he gave me, like about a month ago. And then, well, there was this other very, very sexual experience where he turned me into a hermaphrodite again. But he's always doing, like, magical things and stuff, sexually and stuff. So I can't talk about that experience, but that was probably about 3 weeks ago. But anyway, yeah, there's another experience too I didn't talk about, and that was, but that was sexual too. That was like a couple months ago. I haven't talked about that one, but I can talk about that one too, but I just have to delete. That'll probably be like 12 or 15 minute video, but I have to delete the sexual stuff. But, oh yeah, and then there was like another one that I couldn't ever really, actually I think I did mention it in another video, but I didn't, I edited out all the sexual stuff. I think I did mention that one experience, but I had to edit out all the sexual stuff. But, so yeah, so like, anyway, there's a cool experience that he gave me on the 23rd, which was a couple days ago, and it was like now the other two experiences I'm going to talk about on two separate videos, and Joel didn't give me those experiences. It was different reptilians, but this one that he gave me on the 23rd, it was Joel that gave me those four, like, it was kind of like four back-to-back different scenarios. To me, anyway, it was kind of like four different, kind of separate, you know, different scenes. I mean, it wasn't like four different experiences, whatever. It was just kind of like four different scenes, scenarios, or whatever. I mean, I guess they were sort of separate experiences, but kind of like the same experiences. It's just he just switched it up consecutively 4 times or whatever. And that one he gave me 2 days ago on October 23rd. And, oh, this is a funny thing too. I wasn't even really expecting an experience at all. Oh yeah. I had woke up at like, what time? Damn. 2:30, I think, and I couldn't get back to sleep. So I started talking to Joe, like, are you going to come give me an experience? And I wasn't really expecting one, you know, and then boom, in a split second, he you know, telepathically popped the song in my head by N Oats-Private Eyes. And you can look up that song if you want to. But Joel, he's been communicating to me by pop songs for quite some time. Yeah, it's kind of comical. I could do a separate video on that. And it's like he's kind of like saying, I'm always watching you, blah, 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 blah. So that's kind of interesting. But the thing is, he relayed it to me just bam. The first time I said, hey, Joel, you want to come give me experience? And he gave it to me like instantly. And then of course, you know, 25 other times I was asking, you know, are you going to come give me an experience? Are you going to come give me an experience? Because sometimes you need to, you know, repeat yourself in case they're not, you know, available. Sometimes it takes a little time if they're not immediately available. So you should repeat yourself, you know, many times. Are you going to come give me an experience? Or whatever. But, I mean, I was just shocked that I got that song just the first time. You know, I asked him right when I laid down, you know, at 3 a.m. or whatever. When I laid back down at 3 a.m. And, but yeah, this experience was kind of different too, because it was like 4, you know, kind of like separate scenarios. But, you know, there's a lot of the same themes, you know, that he repeated many, many times. Like, they've taken me to England freaking 10 times now. Probably more. And so there was kind of like an England theme in this experience, too. Okay, so 2 days ago, so after he relayed the song to me, or after, you know, they can just make your brain just boom. Remember, you know, I mean, they telepathically somehow make your brain bring out that song to the surface, and you start hearing it. You hear the exact same song and everything, the Hall & Oates, you know, Private Eyes. You hear it just like no different than hearing it on the radio. It's amazing what they do. It's like they bring it from the back of your brain to the front of your brain or something. And but they're really clever. That's how he likes to communicate to me, by songs, which is very, very smart. You know what I'm saying? And because, you know, back then, all those 80s songs, that was, you know, my time era. I mean, I listened to those songs over and over and over and over again. And all those songs, they have very, very clear words in them. Very clear sayings and stuff. And, okay, so anyway, so I guess he was basically telling me, I'm always watching you. You know what I'm saying? Hall & Oates, Private Eyes. Okay, so, anyway, so this is how it went down. So, okay, hold on. I wrote it down, but let me just, oh shit, okay, hold on. Okay, so, I think the phone kind of dropped. And I can't get that damn song out of my head. And I still can't get it out of my head. I can't get it out of my head. Okay, hold on. Okay, I got it. Okay, so the first experience, well, I mean, it started like this. Like I said, it was the same experience, but 4 distinct, separate little scenarios. And this is how it started. Okay, he places me in. Now, he did not make me astral travel right at the beginning of this experience. Um, he placed me in a mansion, and I was stand. It was very bright. It was very bright in the room. I mean, in the mansion, it's very lit up and bright. And the floors were white. The walls, as far as I remember, were white. It was pretty fancy. It's like he showed me just like how do I say it? Just like, I mean, I don't know how big this mansion was, but it's like he was just showing me about 1/10 of it, if you know what I mean. So I was standing there, straight ahead of me. I mean, I looked all the way down all I could say is it was just this big, huge, wide, open hallway. I mean, that's how the mansion. I mean, I was just standing there, and it was just like looking way, way, way down. There wasn't a lot of furniture or anything like that. There was a little bit of furniture like over to my left, way ahead of me, up against the wall, and maybe over to my right, up against the wall. But basically, it was all just one big, huge hallway, or I don't know what mansions, what you would call it. I don't know, foyer. I don't know if that's the right term. But so I was looking down the mansion, and basically it was just empty, empty, empty space, except for maybe just a few little, furniture up against the wall to the left and to the right. But this was like huge, wide area I was staring at, and I was staring all the way down, the mansion. And so like I say, it was pretty empty what he was showing me, but it was just because it was so huge. I was just in like a freaking hallway, or of the mansion. I'm sure it's called something, but I don't know what it's called. Okay, so straight ahead of me, like about 20 feet ahead of me, was like a hutch. And I think Joel put that in my scenario. He probably copied of my grandma's huge hutch that she had in the kitchen. She had this huge hutch. Okay, so anyway, so he showed me this wood hutch, and it was pretty big, about 20 feet ahead of me. So I started to walk up to it, and on the top of the hutch, all long ways from left to the right, it was like this frosted window. I mean, frosted glass, if you know what I'm saying. It was like frosted, glass. And that's where you put like dishes and stuff in or whatever. And for whatever reason, and this is not the first time I've did this under all of these experiences, I always try to like touch things or break things or whatever. And so I kept trying to like kick it. I kept trying to punch it with my hand to see if it would break. And I even tried to kick it, and I couldn't get it to break at all. And it's just because, if he wanted it to break, he could have showed me that or done that. But I couldn't get it to break. So that's the first thing he showed me, was the hutch. Okay, so then I started walking over to my left. And at this time, I was kind of rushing around, because it's like I knew he was getting ready to abduct me again or whatever. And I knew I was going to start astral traveling or whatever. So over to my left was the big kitchen with a big countertop. And there was a refrigerator, a big refrigerator. And I opened up the refrigerator, and there was some candy. Some strawberry. It was strawberry, but it had like a little bit of chocolate covering it. It was like juju in the middle, like juju stuff in the middle. And that's not the first time he made me eat candy or place candy in my scenarios, or chocolates. And so for some reason I felt like I was like hurrying up. There was a pile of like at least 10 pieces of candy that was sitting there in the refrigerator. And I hurried up and took a piece, and I was like eating it, and I could taste it a little bit, but not like hardcore. So I hurried up and popped a piece of candy. And let me make sure I'm not forgetting that first part, because I wrote it down. I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Oh yeah, by the way, there were some end tables as well, right there to the left, near the wall of the kitchen. Okay, so the second experience, it led, after I ate the candy, he abducted me, again, basically, where I started flying. Oh my God, I was at least 10 to 15,000 feet in the air. And I was flying in the air, and I was shocked because I was like, wow, am I really getting, another experience? And anyway, so as I was flying and flying and flying very, very high, I saw nothing but like beautiful, huge mountains to my left, straight ahead, and to my right. Below me, it was just pure nature. It was just pure nature and mountains all around me. And I was flying for a long, long, long time. And I was just like, wow, I can't believe I'm getting another experience. And I was just observing the mountains straight ahead of me, to the left, way off to the distance, straight ahead of me and off to the left and to the right. They were way far at a distance. And as I was looking down, it was just nothing but nature, grass or whatever. And I was having a total freaking blast. I was traveling at about 25 miles an hour. And so I wasn't going really fast, but I wasn't going really slow. Okay, so then after that, and like I say, I know that's, it wasn't much to see or whatever, but it's just whenever he makes me fly and stuff, it's such a freaking blast. Okay, so then it leads on into the third experience, or the third scene. Okay, so then after that, after I was flying over the mountains and stuff, then all of a sudden, I started flying over a huge black asphalt parking lot. And, he probably copied off of, like from work or whatever, because they just blacktopped it not too long ago. Except in this scenario, it was a huge, massive asphalt parking lot, and there was no cars anywhere in the parking lot. And, like I say, the parking lot was totally empty. And at this time, when I was looking down at the asphalt, I was still pretty damn high in the sky. Like probably 40, or I don't know, maybe 30 stories high. And so as I was flying and I looked down and I saw the asphalt, around me was still, nature and huge mountains and trees straight ahead of me and to my left and to my right. Okay, so here comes the fun part. So as I was flying, as I was flying over the, the asphalt parking lot, when I was looking down and everything, I finally stopped and stalled in midair, and he's made me do that before, which was such a blast. And that one experience that I had when he made me like fly over the ocean, and I paused in midair, and then I was able to control my speed as I dropped and fell, and as I hit the ocean. And I was able to control my speed as I was, falling. And I did land in the ocean and everything. It was such a freaking blast. That was that other experience. I forgot what I titled it. That was like back in 2014, but that was a blast. So this isn't the first time that he's done this either. So I stalled in midair, in midair, way up high, like 20, 30 stories high. And like I say, the asphalt was below me. And I used my mind and proceeded to, use my hands and everything to lower myself pretty slowly. So basically I just stalled in midair, and I flapped my arms out and was just telling myself, okay, just, kind of flap your arms and lower yourself lower and lower, slowly. And then, boom, I just landed right on the asphalt. Like it didn't hurt or anything, because I just was able to control my speed and everything. Just like I did when he made me have a car accident and I went off the mountain, and he like threw me out in front of the ocean in midair. And then I stalled for like a split second in midair, like for like 1 second. And then boom, I was just able to, control my speed as I was like falling. And then boom, I hit the ocean very, very lightly. And I even started swimming and everything. It was so weird. But it was all virtual reality. Okay, so then I was just like wow, like I could just lower myself and control my speed, and then boom, I was standing on top of the asphalt. Okay, let me see what I said next. And like I say, the asphalt, the parking lot was totally empty, and there wasn't any lines or anything in the asphalt. And like I say, here again, there was nothing but nature and huge mountains straight ahead and all around me. Okay, so the fourth little experience, here comes the kind of fun part. Well, the very different part. Okay, so I stalled myself in midair, and I used my mind and proceeded to lower myself pretty slowly till I got right. What did I say? Till I got right on the black asphalt parking lot. And I was standing there on top of the, asphalt. Okay, so after I stood there, I looked around, and not a single car was in the parking lot. Okay, here's the fourth part of the scenario. Then I raised my hands and started to shoot off and fly up in the sky, and I started astrally traveling again, on my stomach. All the times I was astrally traveling in this experience, I was on my stomach. And so then I raised my hands and started to shoot off and fly up in the sky, and I traveled again for a little while, pretty high in the sky. I don't know how long I traveled, probably maybe a couple minutes or something like that. Then, okay, here's the fun part. Then I landed in daylight. It was daytime in England. Okay, I felt like, first of all, I did not know that I was in England right off the bat. I did not know that. I did not know I was in England. And what the deal was, like I say, it was daylight. And so anyway, as I landed in England, I was outdoors in nature, in grass and everything, and I was just standing there. And like I say, I did not know I was in England at that time. And it felt like to me, like it was like 11 o'clock in the morning. That's what it felt like. It felt like it was summer or spring, and it felt like it was around 11 o'clock in the morning. And so I was standing there, and over to the left of me, straight ahead at a distance, there were about 6 to 8. To me, they look like Mennonite women, like Mennonite or something like that. 6 to 8 women walking around as if they were just doing normal chores. As if they were doing normal chores, and it's like, I don't know, it's like they lived on the land or something. And there wasn't any men. I did not see any men whatsoever. And this isn't the first time they've put Amish people or Mennonite people in my experiences. Or I mean. Okay. And, so anyway, so then, so like I say, I did not know when I landed there, and I looked around and I saw all the, 6 to 8 women, and I'm trying to think. I think I maybe even saw a couple kids, but I can't remember. But it was at least 6 to 8 women, and it was like they were doing chores, and it was like they lived on like a big farm, or they kind of like lived on the land. And so here's the funny part. I heard a couple of the women started talking in a British accent, and that's when I knew I was in England. But as far as I remember, they weren't talking to me, and I didn't talk back. They were talking amongst each other. I heard, 2 of the women started talking, and when they started talking in a British accent, I was like, wow, I'm in England. But I didn't know I was in England right when I landed, in the grass or whatever. Okay, well, here's the other. Joel always has to do something sexual. Normally, at the end of the experience, he always does something sexual. And in this experience, he did as well. Okay, so basically, but I gotta edit a lot of parts out because he's always like turning me into a hermaphrodite and always doing sexual stuff and crap. Okay, so anyway, but this is the funny part. Okay, so it's like there was like a makeshift little bitty bedroom, you know, right there on the land. It wasn't, I don't know what to call it. I mean, it wasn't like a bedroom, but it was just like a little area. They made a little like bedroom, you know, like the walls. Well, there wasn't really walls. It's like the walls were probably like fabric or burlap or something like that. And then there was a bed. And the funny thing is, this is a pretty good picture right here, because the bed, it had like one of those bright Mexican blankets on it. And I've owned, and I do have one or two of them still, but I used to own even more of, you know, Mexican blankets that we used to get from Mexico and stuff. And oh yeah, no, I do. I got some from my grandma still. That's right, on the wall when she died and everything. So the alien kind of copied that. So on the bed, so for whatever reason, I went inside this little makeshift bedroom. But like I say, it wasn't really a bedroom. It was just on the land with like burlap or cloth walls, so to speak. And like I didn't have a door or anything. It didn't have a door. And so I went inside and I just sat on the bed. And like I say, the what do you call it? Not the comforter. You know, there wasn't really any sheets or anything. There was just a blanket, but it was like a Mexican bright blanket. Kind of like that. And, but yeah, it was a nice blanket. It wasn't dirty or anything in there, but in the scenario, it was kind of like, he didn't really tell me what the room was used for. I just kind of thought, okay, that's, if they get tired, if the women get tired, I guess they come in here and take a nap or something. Like, he didn't tell me, like, oh, that's where they have sex or anything like that. But Joel made me go in there, and then, of course, he's always doing sexual things, you know, like turning me into a hermaphrodite and shit like that. But, and there was a little bit more to it, too, but, I got to edit that part out. But he's always doing the same thing over and over again. He'll give me all these awesome experiences, and then at the end of the experience, he'll like get me off, or he'll just do something sexual and not get me off or whatever. But yeah, so but he does that time and time and time and time again. He turns me into a hermaphrodite, and he's been doing this, I mean, since, you know, teenage years or whatever, or maybe younger. But yeah, so basically, let me see, make sure I didn't forget anything. But yeah, it was just kind of different because it was four distinct little, you know, scenarios within the same experience. But the fun part, man, was the freaking flying. That was a blast. That was the best of all, is the flying. And I had been asking him. The funny thing is, you know, because like I say, sometimes like when he just plopped me down in the movie theater, it's still a fun experience, but there's no flying and stuff involved. And like I said, and I had been asking him, you know, to give me another experience like that, like those ones where I would, you know, you'd make me fly around and astral travel, and well, finally he did. But sometimes it takes a little while before they actually give you what you ask for. Because I had been asking, telling him I want to do some more flying and shit. You know, not just to be thrown into a virtual reality setting, you know, where there's no astral travel and flying involved. And well, look, he finally gave it to me. But yeah, it was a blast, and the mountains were just like beautiful. And like I say, there was a lot of astral traveling in this experience. It was a blast. And what's really fun is just being able to like control yourself, like just being in midair, and there's just, I mean, totally midair, like you're just light as a feather. And you're just able, I mean, there's no gravity or whatever. And yeah, it's a total freaking blast. And like I say, there was another similar experience that he made me do that. And I can't remember what I titled that. It was, to the tropical resort, because it was like he took me to a tropical resort, which I, had been before. So he was copying that. He was copying that when he gave me that experience in 2014, because me and my sister, we went to a tropical resort, back in 2007. But it was a total freaking blast. But I can post that. But yeah, whenever he gives me experiences, there's always a lot of similarities. And he does the same thing over and over and over again. But there's another lucid dream. Well, this was an out-of-body experience, but there's a lucid dream I'm going to talk about where I was placed into another mansion again that I bought. I had bought it. Now, the alien didn't tell me, how much I paid for it or anything, but it was just, it's good enough to talk about, so I'm going to talk about it. Because, I don't know, they just love put me in mansions and stuff. Okay, and then there was another experience I got to talk about too. So there's going to be 2 other videos. Another experience, virtual reality, where, well, pertaining to all these like semi-trucks and UPS truck and FedEx truck. And it was like, oh my God, it was like scary. Some of these beings, these reptilians, they give me like they like to like scare you. They like to scare me, kind of. Or, you just feel kind of, what I'm saying? Like, they know what bugs you, and they'll kind of put it in a scenario. I mean, it wasn't a nightmare, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, you still feel kind of like, I don't know if scared is the right word, but you're just like freaked out. Like, oh my God, the semi-truck, was bobbling, and then I just knew it was gonna like fall on its, no, not scared really. You just feel, no, that's not the right word, I guess. You just feel like a little bit of fear, you know what I'm saying? They do like to kind of put fear, and there's some beings that do like to put fear in my experiences sometimes. And that was one of those experiences, but it wasn't like, that fearful or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, but I'm going to talk about that experience too, because that was pretty wild. Okay, so thanks for listening.